everyone, so today we're finally getting around to do the P.Louise and Mikayla collaboration palette looks. So I wanted to do a couple looks for this palette because there is such a heavy blue side and neutral side, and I thought it might be interesting to do 3 different looks with this palette. So the first look I'm going to be doing today is the one I'm wearing right now, and this is definitely focused more on the neutral side of the palette. Then the second look, I'm going to be a good mix of the brown and the blue, and then finally for the third one, wanted to go full on bright blue magic eyeshadows. So we are going to do 3 different looks in this video, so if you guys are interested to see what I think about this palette, then definitely keep watching. And really quickly, I want to say thank you so much for all of the love you guys have been showing me on the swatch party video for this palette. It definitely took a lot of time and effort to actually do all the swatching, so I love that that video has been getting a lot of likes and comments and thumbs up and things like that. So definitely keep the conversation going over here as well. Let me know, what do you guys think of this palette? So definitely leave your likes and your comments down below telling me anything you want about this palette. Okay, so starting off with look number 1 of this palette, we're going to be focusing more on the neutral sides of this palette. And I've got my hair in curlers, so please excuse that at the moment. Also, this palette is so big, I am going to just be flashing on screen the name of the shadow and where it's at in the palette. It's way too big for me trying to like hold up and stuff. Alright, so starting off using the color Dream Life, this is the matte medium brown. I'm going to start with this in the crease, and I've already added eyeshadow primer to my lid. Next, taking the color Bravery, this is a dark matte brown. I'm going to take this on a slightly denser round brush, and I'm going to apply that to the outermost portion of my crease and slightly blending that in to where we applied that lighter brown color. Then I'm going to take Chosen Family. This is a light matte kind of cream color. I'm going to take that under the brow bone and just kind of run that on the outer edges just to further blend that and make it a little bit softer from where those brown shades are. Then taking a small pencil brush in that same Bravery dark brown color, I'm going to take that and run it on the lower lash line. Now I'm ready to move on to some of these shimmer shadows, but before I do, I'm going to take a little bit of my Alamar Cosmetics Sticky Primer. I have hooded eyelids, so I find that this is a super necessary step for me to kind of give my eyeshadow the best chance at not necessarily not transferring, but trying to minimize some of that. So I always take a stickier, tackier kind of eyeshadow primer and I apply that just to the lid portion of my eye, and I find that this gives a lot of shimmer shadows much better chance at sticking to my eyes for much longer. Alright, next using the color Iconic. This one just really caught my eye from my swatch video and I have been dying to try this on, so I'm going to pick that up on a brush. I'm going to start by applying that to the lid where I put that sticky primer. Alright, and this is how it looks applied with just the brush. I am going to take just a little bit of it on my finger here, and I'm going to apply that over the top of that, and I find that this just gives it so much more like shine. Like, I think you can see that was a big difference there at how like foiled and metallic and how much shimmer is really coming off of it, so I always kind of like to apply foil shadows that way. And again, taking just a little bit of that color onto my brush, I'm going to bring that down on the lower lash line, and we're going to bring that in from the inside to the middle of the lower lash line. And then finally I want to take a little bit of this other shimmer color. This other one is called Till Death Do Us Part. So I'm going to take a little bit of that on the brush, and again we're going to apply this more of like an inner corner highlight. This one has a very beautiful kind of like a goldy silvery reflex, and I feel like that's just such a pretty color for the inner corner. Alright, so that is it for the eyeshadow for the more neutral look. I really like how these shadows performed. They were so easy to blend. They look stunning. They're pigmented. Very nice. So I'm going to finish off the look, come back, give you a few more thoughts with the finished look. So as far as my thoughts so far on this palette of the shadows I used today, I was super happy with them. They are pigmented, they blended well, they showed up on my skin, they look really nice, the shimmers are just really intense, which I love. So far I'm pretty pleased with this palette, but I know there are more shadows to try and get onto, so let's move on to the next look. Starting off, the first color I want to use, let's go with Short Queen. We're going to use this as our base color, and I'm going to pick that up with a fluffy blending brush, and this is going to be our base color, so I'm going to start by applying that to the outer portion of my lid, and we're going to start bringing that inward to deepen the crease. Next, I want to take one of the darker matte browns. So since we already used a Bravery, I want to use, let's do Soon to Be. This is a little bit of a lighter dark matte brown, and we're going to take that and we're going to deepen the crease with that even more. Then I'm going to take just a little dip of June Baby. This is again one of the darker browns, and again that is just going to go mainly on the outermost part to further define this portion. Then taking a little bit of the cream white color called When You Know You Know, we're just going to clean up the edges. Then taking a small pencil brush with, again, the June Baby color, we're going to take just a little bit of that and apply it just on the outermost portion of the lower lash line. Next, using a sticky primer, I'm going to apply this just to the center of my lid. I find this helps shimmers to stay longer and to help minimize a little bit of creasing with my hooded eyelids. Next, using the copper shimmer shadow called Happily Ever After, I'm going to take that up on a flat shader brush and we're going to apply this to the lid. And I also like applying this with my finger, so I'm going to give that a quick little tap. Okay, so you might be thinking, where is the blue? Don't worry, blue is next. So we are going to take a little bit of the color Castle Hill. And again, I want to take this on a small pencil brush because we're going to do just a cute little blue moment on the lower lash line. Nothing too intense, and just a fun way to kind of blend the neutrals with the blues a bit. We're going to start by applying that in the inner portion of the lower lash line. And I like this blue because it's a little bit more of a muted blue. It's not too crazy intense, so this is going to give you a much more softer look for that blue pop of color without it being too crazy intense. You can always like make it more dramatic if you'd like, but I kind of like the subtle look every once in a while. And if you want to dip over into Commons, it's a little bit more of a richer blue in the same color tone, just slightly more pigmented. You can do that as well. So if you like the more subtle blue, you can totally leave the look right here with the more matte blue little pop of color on the lower lash line. However, I want to go just one step further and take one of the shimmer shadows. And the color that's really calling to me is the color Emerald Eyes. This one is just a little bit more of like a periwinkle kind of blue with a little bit of like a slight purpley shift. So I'm going to take this on a shadow brush and we're going to apply it right on top of where we put that blue shadow. And I feel like this is just going to be that really nice little pop of shimmer without being too crazy. And then again, taking just whatever's left over on my brush, we're just going to kind of sweep that up into the inner corner of the lashes just to do a slight little bit of highlighting there. Alright, so that is it for the eyeshadow portion of it. It's just a very light kind of just a whisper of the blue, which I think can be a little bit of an intimidating color to like get into for eyeshadow. So this is a nice little introductory where you're getting just a little taste of the blue without having like a full-on like blue committed look. So one last thing I do want to do is use this eyeliner. This is from the She Glam Chromazone 2.0 collection. This is one of their multi-chrome eyeliners in the color Pixels. This one's just kind of like an icy silvery blue, and I feel like it's just going to really add to this look. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of this into my waterline. And I'm going to keep that more on the inner portion. I don't want to go all the way out. Since we've got more of the brown on this side, we're going to come back with a brown eyeliner. And it adds just like a little extra shine to the waterline. And then just for the outer portion, we're going to use one of the brown ones from the Live to Roam collection. This one is in the color On Foot. It is just a dark brown type of color. So I'm just going to apply that on the outer portion of my waterline. Overall, I am really loving this look. I love it because, again, you've got that little pop of blue and it just kind of makes it look a little bit more fun than just your typical neutral kind of look without going like way too crazy on the color, because there's times where like I have fun and I like doing color, but I don't really think it suits me that well. Like there's some people, they can pull off total rainbow eyes. I feel like I don't have that look. So I kind of like to keep it a little bit more on like the glamour side, or like, I don't know, like the pretty side, rather than like go super bold and artsy. But I really like this look because I feel like it gives just enough of that pop of blue to make it a little bit more interesting than just your everyday kind of look, and I think it turned out really cool. Alright guys, so the next look coming up is going to be the bright, bold, blue everything looks. So let's get on to that one next. We're going full out blue with this one, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't wear blue eyeshadow too often, which might surprise you why I even purchased this palette, but that is neither here nor there. So starting off, I'm going to take a smaller fluffy brush and I'm going to pick up the matte color Wedding Blues. I have already added primer to my eyes, so we're just going to start with this blue color and I'm going to blend this in the crease. Okay, this one's actually applying a little bit patchy. I don't know if that's me or the shadow. I mean, not gonna lie, it could be me. So I'm just gonna work on trying to kind of blend that a little bit, get that a little smoother. All right, so that's what we're looking like right now. We're gonna trust the process. I'm gonna do this on the same side over here. Okay, so to kind of like soften this blue edge a little bit, it's looking just a little bit on the patchy side. I'm going to take one of the like more matte skin tone type of colors for me, and so I think Chosen Family would be a good option for that. So I'm just gonna pick some of that up and I'm gonna dust that kind of on the right beneath my brow bone and just kind of blend that inward to soften the edges of the blue. Okay, I'm gonna go back with that same Wedding Blues color, but I'm gonna go back with a different brush. This one's a little bit more of a smaller, more precise type of brush, so I'm gonna try that one. I don't know if it's my eyeshadow primer or my brush or the shadow, but I just kind of feel like I didn't get a very good application with that blue color. Okay, so now that I've got that applied, I want to take a bit more of a deeper blue just to kind of deeper define the crease. So I think I want to go with the color Captured Heart. This one is a little bit more of that darkest, like almost slightly peacocky shade of blue. I'm just gonna kind of stamp this on the outer corner portion of my lid and just kind of softly blend that into the other blue shadow. Next, taking a smaller kind of pencil style brush, again taking that same Captured Heart color, I'm going to take that on the outer portion of my lower lash line. I'm going to blend that upward to where it meets the top part of my shadow. Again, I want to go back with that light Chosen Family color, and again I just kind of want to soften some of these edges of the blue. So as always, I will be using a sticky eyeshadow primer for the lid portion of my eyes. I do this all the time, so definitely want to do this here as well if I'm wearing a shimmer type shadow, because this just helps the shadows, number one, stay better on my eyes and also minimize a little bit of transfer with my hooded eyes. Okay, so there's so many pretty shimmer colors I could choose from, but the one that is really calling to me is the shade Newlyweds. This one almost has a little bit of like a very slight duochrome kind of shift to it. It's kind of like an icy periwinkle blue with a very tiny like greenish kind of shift to it, and I'm just really drawn to that color. So I'm gonna take that on my flat shader brush. I'm gonna apply this right where I put that sticky primer. And I definitely think that the with the finger is the winner for me. I always find that the shimmers in most cases from like most brands typically tend to really show off their shimmer a lot more once they're applied with a finger. Again, taking that same shadow, I'm going to take that on the lower lash line. We're going to run that on the inner corner to the middle portion of the lower lash line. The one thing I feel like this palette is actually missing is one super light kind of icy blue iridescent shimmery type color, because I'm trying to see is there any colors in here that I think would make a nice like inner corner highlight color, and the only one I'm finding is the one I did from the first portion of this video in the neutral look, which was the Till Death Do Us Part color, and that one's more of like a yellowy gold white shifty kind of shadow, which I feel like could still work for this look, but I was wishing there was like a light white icy shimmer blue, and I feel like with the amount of matte blues in here, there totally could have been space for that. So I'm just going to use that Till Death Do Us Part color again for the inner corner highlight, and we'll just kind of mix that in with the blue shade that we put on the lid Newlyweds and kind of see what we can come up with. Alright, and so that is it for the eyeshadow portion of the look. I'm going to finish off my eyeliner and my lashes off camera, and I'll come back and show you guys the final look. Alright guys, and this is how the look turned out with my lashes and mascara and eyeliner all done. So this is definitely a very bold eyeshadow look for me. I actually really like how it turns out. I do have to say, when I was in the middle of applying that first blue shadow, I felt like it applied a little patchier than I was expecting, and I had to kind of work with that color, the Wedding Blues color, a little bit more than I thought I would. And I have to say, now that I have the look done, I think it looks really pretty and I do like it, but that first color definitely did take me a little bit more time to work on blending. I did one tiny thing different with my eyeshadow primer today. say that I don't know if it made a difference of that or not. The one thing that I would say though is that I created this whole look using only 2 of the blue matte shadows, and I just feel like looking at this palette, of course some of them are a little bit more purple toned and some are a little bit more periwinkle toned, but I just feel like, again, there are a lot of overlaps in the eyeshadow colors here that I feel like there's really not a necessary need for all of those colors. So I definitely think there is a case to be made that she could have sized down the palette a bit, eliminated some redundant colors, and created a little bit more of a less overwhelming palette, because there's probably about like 3 or 4 other shadows I could have done like in place of the first color that I used, and I would have ended up with a very similar look. And as far as the darkest shadow I used, there's probably like 2 more shadows that could have been in place of that and gotten a very similar look as well. I do like the shimmer that I used, and I felt like all the shimmers in this palette were very unique and warranted all of them being there, because I do quite like every single shimmer shadow in this palette so far. The one thing that I thought was missing from this palette, surprisingly, that I didn't realize until I was doing this look, is that I really wish Mikayla would have included a lighter white, icy, kind of reflexy blue duochrome type inner corner highlight type of color, because that was the one thing I was really kind of missing from this look today, and that just wasn't here in this palette. And with the amount of redundant shadows in this palette, I felt like there was totally an opportunity to put that in somewhere and eliminate another color that was kind of similar to other ones. I definitely think that that would have been a really good addition to the palette. But as far as the eyeshadow look itself, I do think it's very pretty. When I'm looking at the eyeshadow, I don't think I'm the best at pulling off these bold, bright kind of looks. I think they're fun for every once in a while, but as far as me for like everyday type of makeup and stuff, I definitely think blue is not quite my forte, but I do think the look is pretty. I like how the look itself looks. I just don't know if I pull it off very well. Okay guys, so that is it for this 3-in-1 makeup tutorial kind of try on video. I really hope that this kind of gave you a few ideas on how you can use some of the colors in this palette to create a very different range of looks, and just let you guys know my overall thoughts and my criticisms of the palettes. So if you guys made it this far into the video, definitely leave me a comment below and leave the blue heart emoji in it so I know that you made it this far. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, link is below, and also on TikTok now. I am starting to upload on TikTok, so you can follow me there as well. So until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.